All right, as we go into this example, please start by reading it through and then trying and working it out on your own first. So pause the video, and then after you've had a chance to do that, then press play again so we can walk through it together with some context. In this case, we know that we're going to be dealing with compounding interest because there is a percent involved that it's growing or shrinking by every time. And so we know we're going to be using one of the compound interest equations. In this case, we're also told that it is compounding daily, which tells me that I'm going to be using the version of the compounding interest equation that has the n in it. And now it's a matter of going and figuring out what are each of the numbers that I have in this particular case. So it's going to be a of t. And t, of course, is my time. So that's going to end up being the 5 years. All right, and then equals p, which stands for principal, or the starting amount of the equation. So that's going to be the 500 here. And that is times 1 plus, it's always 1. And in this case, we are increasing by this amount each time. So it is going to be plus my rate, which is the 1.75%. But of course, I'm not going to be plugging 1.75 in for r. I have to do the 1.75 divided by 100 in order to actually get that then as a decimal that I can work with. So that's going to be 0.0175. So I plug that in, and then that needs to be over n. And n is the number of times it's compounding every single year. In this case, since it is compounded daily, that means there's going to be 365 days in the year for it to compound. All right, and then the n and the t and the exponent, we already know what each of those are. That's going to be our 365 times our 5 years. From here, it's a matter of using correct order of operations and just using our calculators to be able to get that answer. First thing we want to do is, of course, figure out what the value inside the parentheses equals. So I'm going to do the division first and then add 1 to that. And it gives me this big long decimal. Make sure to keep that whole decimal showing on your calculator. And that's going to be to the power of 1,825, which I get by doing the 365 times 5. Next up, we need to do that 1.000479 number, not that exact number, remember use the whole one on your calculator, to the power of 1825. And that gives us about 1.09. Now that's another decimal that goes on forever and ever. Keep it handy. Okay, we don't want to clear that, otherwise we're going to have a lot of rounding error in our final answer. The last thing is you're going to take that number that's currently showing on your calculator and you're going to multiply that by 500. And that gives you 545.72 as your final answer then.